All right. I had a little downtime today. Today is Saturday, April 5th. Listen, when I'm not doing the watch list, I'm not really paying attention to the time, unfortunately. But I want to do a little quick video on support and resistance or level systems. I guess you can say it. I like to say it, in other words, level systems. And pretty much the power of it. Because I had one of my friends, he is beginning to get into the trading world, and this was a question that he asked me. Um, he says, of course, my name is Dylan. He was like, Dylan, I got a question. I've seen people on certain videos, and they have like all these different lines that are like RSI and like MACD and the EMAs, and he's asking me like, do I use any of these indicators, or why don't I use any of these indicators, right? Um, Everybody has a different trading style. I've tried the MACD and RSI stuff. Like I said, I have a screenshot somewhere on my computer that I'll post up that you guys can see how my charts used to look way back in the day when I first started trading, almost like probably 5 years ago. I wasn't trading serious at all. I was still teenager doing teenager things, doing stupid stuff. I didn't start locking in on trading till 2022, and we're just now starting 2025. So I am now probably 3 years into my journey. Last year I was lollygagging, but anyways, level system. Everybody has a different way in terms of trading. I just want to kind of go through the way that I trade, and I'm gonna probably use the last two trades that I caught this week to kind of go through what I'm talking about. Let's go into at least a 6 minute time frame because this will be a lot more easier. I remember on Friday I was probably making a watch list, or the watch list was probably around taking calls above the 524 area. I ended up not taking the calls at all, right? And I ended up turning this into a 1 hour resistance. During the trading session, I ended up having a whole entire change of mind. The way that we opened, and the way that the price action was moving as well, was giving me the conviction that we was not gonna hold this 524 as support at all. Every single buy up on this candle that we were getting, and price and understanding price action is very important. That's another reason why I kind of stood away from the indicators. I wanted to focus more on the language in between the candles themselves. We ended up having this 6 minute candle, and I'm very totally against taking trades very early in the morning, but for some odd reason I kept my eyes just cannot stay off of the way that this candle was looking at the time. We ended up having a whole bunch of buys up, and then it instantly was getting sold off. That immediately was giving me the indication that this whole support area was not going to hold at all. So I ended up going short literally at the open at this candle here, probably like 5 minutes as soon as this candle was about to close. And I ended up taking a short. I ended up making $48 on my regular cash account, and then I ended up making $300 on my funded account on this trade alone. It literally went straight to the bottom down here. As I was expecting, I tried to, trade level to level. That's the way that I trade. Um, my I could have ended up capitalizing on my funded account, but it is kind of hard trying to manage two different platforms at the same time. So I usually just set and forget. I would just end up just buying at the position or the area that I think is the most favorable for me, and I would end up just allowing my TP and my stop loss to just play out here. It's either gonna hit or it's gonna miss. That's the way it's gonna be. You're not gonna win them all, but the best you can do is just take the trade based off of the convictions that you have. So we ended up closing below this level here. We ended up breaking down and retesting it during the small like the smaller time frames, and then we ended up closing very well below the level and the price action as well. So I had a lot of different convictions to go off of based off of what I was seeing to take the short below, and like I said, I ended up taking it based off of the reaction. So everybody, or a lot of people that do trade support levels, do have a sub strategy that they will go based off of. Mine was be levels in terms of like breaking and retesting. I believe that's kind of the best way that I trade, especially growing a small account and trading the way I am, trying to understand the way that the market works and how I need to pretty much position myself, um, that's gonna give you the opportunity to kind of understand yourself a little bit more and what you willing to work with, right? If you're willing to only do this, then you're gonna have to change and do this. And that's the hardest part, is like accepting that you need to change in order for this to happen. And that was a lot of the mistakes that comes from a lot of mistakes that I was making when I was coming through, as I'm developing as a trader, especially back then when I was first starting as a trader. I would sit here in front of my screen all day long. Usually on the weekends I'll go out, lollygag, do whatever the hell I want. But I'm home today. It's rainy out. I went to the gym already, and I just decided, you know what? Let's just do a little review. But I ended up missing, this whole entire move down below. I believe once you made money, why stick around? You don't want to kind of set into the greed point, because once you get into that point, that's where things start to kind of shift around. I went from not making any money to starting to make a little bit of money, and the best part is that you are literally forced to be consistent to kind of keep what you are gaining. And it does take a lot of self-discipline. Again, a lot of people are not willing to change, but if you are willing to kind of push past that, you kind of will begin seeing some sort of difference in whatever you want to succeed in life in, right? um that's the it's something small. It's nothing really too crazy. I want to keep it small and short because I think a lot of people complicate it. Um, but that's the way that I trade. Everybody trades a lot more differently. I see people trade, just trend lines, stuff like that. Everybody trades differently. You just have to trade to what you are willing to, sacrifice and what you are willing to risk. All right. I hope you guys have a great day. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. And I will see you guys on the next video. More likely it'll be on Monday. I love doing the watch list videos on the Monday. Reason being is that I have a kind of a more clarity on the day, what to kind of expect. Your day trading doesn't mean you have to take a trade every day, but it gives you something to kind of look forward throughout the day. You don't get it, you don't get it. What it is what it is. You'll get something later. I'll see you guys on the next video.